Two children were crying in a crowded restaurant. Not because they were hungry, not because they were hurt, but because in their entire 8 years of life, not a single person, not even their own father, could understand the words their hands were screaming. Until one waitress looked down, saw what everyone else had missed, and did something that would change for lives forever. This is a story about the loudest silence you've never heard. About a father who built skyscrapers but couldn't bridge the gap to his own children. About a woman who had nothing but gave everything. And about how one moment of courage can shatter years of loneliness. Stay with me, because what happens next will break your heart, put it back together, and restore your faith in the power of human connection. This is their story. Welcome to Reality Untold Stories. While you are here, please hit the subscribe button and comment your view on the story and where you're watching from. Section 1. The Silence That Screamed. Let me take you back to where it all began. An ordinary Tuesday evening in New York City, in one of those expensive steakhouses where the music is soft and the prices are high. Picture this scene with me. A man sits at a corner table, his suit perfectly pressed, his watch worth more than most cars. His name is Thomas Bennett, and at 35 years old, he owns the largest construction company on the East Coast. He's built skyscrapers that touch the clouds. He's sealed deals worth millions with just a handshake. But right now, sitting across from his 8-year-old twins, he feels like the most powerless man in the world. His children, Emma and Lucas, sit quietly in their chairs. Too quietly. Emma pushes her food around her plate, her little hands moving in patterns that her father can't understand. Lucas presses himself against the back of his seat, tears rolling down his cheeks. He's watching the world move around him in a language he cannot hear. You see, both children are deaf, and their father, this powerful man who built an empire from nothing, doesn't know how to talk to them. The nanny sitting beside them, a stern woman named Miss Patterson, keeps grabbing their hands when they try to sign. Sit still, she says sharply. Stop making those gestures. It's not proper. But the children aren't being improper. They're trying to speak. They're trying to tell their father about their day, about what they learned, about what makes them happy or sad. Nobody is listening. That's when everything changed. A young woman was working the tables that night. Her name is Isabella Torres, and she's 29 years old. She came to New York from California 3 years ago, running from memories too painful to face. She works double shifts at this restaurant, saving every penny, living in a tiny apartment in Queens. To the wealthy customers, she's invisible. Just another waitress refilling water glasses. But Isabella sees what everyone else is missing. As she approaches the table with a water pitcher, she notices the children. Really notices them. She sees their hands moving desperately, trying to communicate. She sees the tears. She sees the loneliness. And something inside her breaks. Isabella doesn't think about the consequences. She doesn't worry about the powerful businessman who might get angry. She just sets down her pitcher and does something simple.
She signs.
Her hands move in beautiful, flowing patterns. Speaking without sound. The change in those children is instant. Emma's eyes go wide with shock and wonder. Lucas stops crying immediately. His whole face lights up like someone just turned on the sun inside him. For the first time in their 8 years of life, someone outside their small world can hear them. Hello, little ones, Isabella signs. What are your names? Thomas Bennett's fork clatters to his plate. In 8 years of being a father, he has never seen his children react to anyone like this. Emma's hands fly excitedly. Lucas actually smiles. A real smile that reaches his eyes. I'm Emma, the girl signs with enthusiasm. This is my brother, Lucas. Can you really understand us? Nobody ever understands us. Isabella feels her heart breaking. She kneels beside their table, not caring that her manager is watching, not caring that other customers are staring. I understand you perfectly, sweetheart, she signs back. Why is everyone always angry at us? Lucas's small hands move slowly, hesitantly. We try so hard to be good. That question hits Isabella like a punch to the chest. She looks up at Thomas, seeing him not as some powerful businessman, but as a lost father watching his children come alive for the first time. What did he ask? Thomas's voice comes out rough, barely steady. Isabella hesitates. She's just a waitress. He's Thomas Bennett. But looking at these children, she finds her courage. He asked why everyone is always angry at them. They think they're being bad when they're just trying to talk. Thomas's jaw tightens. Miss Patterson shifts uncomfortably. Mr. Bennett, I've been trying to teach them proper manners. Proper manners? Isabella's voice carries more emotion than she intended. They're 8 years old, trying to talk to their father. There's nothing wrong with that. The restaurant goes quiet. Every eye turns to watch this young waitress challenging one of New York's most powerful men. Isabella realizes her mistake too late. She starts to stand, to apologize, to disappear back into invisibility. But Thomas's hand catches her wrist. Not hard, not threatening, just urgent. Don't, he says quietly. Don't stop talking to them. Please. And in that moment, everything begins to change. The next morning, Isabella wakes up in a guest room that feels like a dream. The bed is softer than anything she's ever slept on. Through massive windows, she can see Central Park stretched out below, the morning sun painting everything gold. She still can't believe what happened after that moment in the restaurant. Thomas had asked her to come home with them. Right there, in front of everyone, he'd said, "My children need you. Will you help me learn how to talk to them?" There's a soft knock on the door. Isabella expects a housekeeper, but Thomas himself appears, carrying a tray with coffee and breakfast. He's changed from his business suit into jeans and a simple shirt. His dark hair is slightly messy. In the morning light, he looks less like an intimidating businessman and more like a tired father who's been up all night thinking. "I thought you might be hungry," he says, setting the tray down. The children are still sleeping, but they're usually up by 8. Isabella glances at the clock. 7:30 in the morning. "You didn't have to bring me breakfast," she says. "I wanted to talk to you," Thomas says, moving to the window. "About yesterday. About what happens next." Isabella sits up, suddenly very aware that she's wearing borrowed clothes and her hair is a mess. "What do you mean?" Thomas turns to face her, and his eyes are intense. "My children haven't smiled in months. Yesterday, they couldn't stop laughing. They slept through the whole night without nightmares for the first time in weeks." He pauses. "I need you to stay. Stay. Move in. Teach me their language. Help them understand that being deaf isn't something to be ashamed of." His voice cracks slightly. "Give them what I can't. Understanding. Connection." Isabella stares at him. This isn't just about the children, is it? Thomas's jaw tightens. "What do you mean?" "You're scared," Isabella says softly. "Not of business deals or competition. You're scared of your own children because you don't know how to reach them." The accuracy of her words hits him hard. Is that so wrong? They're the most important people in my world, and I'm failing them every single day. "You're not failing them," Isabella says. "You're just lost. But hiring me to fix your relationship isn't the answer. You have to do the work yourself. Then help me do the work." It's not a command. It's a plea. Isabella thinks about Emma's excited hands telling stories nobody understood. About Lucas's tears when he thought nobody was listening. About her own little sister, Sophia, who died 7 years ago. Sophia was deaf too. And Isabella had learned sign language to talk to her, to be her voice in a world that didn't want to listen. "I can't live here permanently," she says finally. "But I can help you learn sign language. Really learn it. And I can work with the children." "What do you need?"
Time.
"Patience. And a promise that you won't give up when it gets hard." Thomas steps closer. "I don't give up on things that matter to me." The intensity in his voice makes her shiver. A crash from downstairs breaks the moment. Excited voices follow. They find Emma and Lucas in the kitchen, covered in flour. They're attempting to make pancakes with the confused help of Rosa, the housekeeper. Both children freeze when they see their father. Their expressions shift from joy to worry. "We wanted to make breakfast for Isabella." Emma signs hesitantly. "Are we in trouble?" Thomas looks helplessly at Isabella. "Tell them they're not in trouble," Isabella says gently. Tell them next time to ask Rosa for help before they start cooking. As Thomas speaks the words aloud, Isabella signs the translation. Both children's faces light up with relief and excitement. Daddy, are you learning our language? Lucas signs eagerly. He's trying, Isabella translates. Then she looks at Thomas. This is your first lesson. Watch my hands carefully. She signs slowly, clearly. I am learning your language because I love you. Thomas watches intently. Then he attempts to copy her movements. His hands are large, less graceful than hers. But he manages something recognizable. The children's reaction is immediate. They launch themselves at him, covering his flower-covered clothes with sticky hugs. Again, Daddy, Emma says aloud. Her voice is slightly unclear, but strong. Say it again. Thomas looks surprised. She spoke. Many deaf children can speak, Isabella explains. They often don't because they can't hear themselves. When she's excited, she forgets to be self-conscious. Thomas kneels to his daughter's level. He signs the phrase again, more confidently this time. Emma claps her hands. I love you too, Daddy. The words, imperfect but heartfelt, break something open in Thomas's chest. He pulls both children close, holding them tight. Isabella watches with tears in her eyes. And she knows, right then, that she's made a decision that will change everything. For weeks pass like pages in a beautiful book. Thomas is learning sign language faster than Isabella expected. Every evening after work, he sits with her and the children, practicing until his hands ache. Emma and Lucas bloom like flowers in spring. Their confidence grows daily. But beautiful stories don't always stay beautiful. Especially when you're a man like Thomas Bennett, who's built an empire and made enemies along the way. It starts with a phone call that makes Thomas's face go cold and hard. Isabella is reading to the children when she hears his voice from downstairs, harsh and angry in a way she's never heard before. Tell Richard the first don't negotiate with threats. And tell him to stay away from my family. Richard. Isabella has heard whispers about Richard Crane. He's a real estate developer who wants to take over Thomas's company. A man who sees family as weakness and loyalty as something to be bought. That night, after the children are asleep, Thomas comes to find her. He looks exhausted, worry lines deep around his eyes. I need to tell you something, he says quietly. About my business. About the kind of man I am. You don't have to. Yes, I do. He sits down heavily. My company isn't just construction. We control major development contracts, property deals. I've made enemies. Powerful ones. Isabella's heart sinks. Richard Crane. You don't have to say anything, Thomas continues quickly. I just needed you to know. Needed you to understand why I'm going to do everything in my power to keep you safe. Isabella turns to face him, her dark eyes shining with unshed tears. Do you want to know what I was thinking when that gun was pointed at me? Thomas's jaw tightens, but he nods. I was thinking that I couldn't leave those children. That they'd already lost so much. Their mother, when they were babies. Their connection to their father. Their voice in the world. She takes a shaky breath. I was thinking that I'd just found something I'd been searching for my whole life without even knowing it. A family. A purpose. You. She squeezes his hand. I love you too, Thomas. I think I started falling for you that first night at the restaurant when you looked at your children like they were your whole world. When you were willing to learn a new language just to hear them. Thomas's hand comes up to cup her face, his thumb brushing away a tear. I don't deserve you. That's not your choice to make. Isabella smiles through her tears. Besides, those children need both of us. You're learning to hear them, and I'm learning to be strong for them. Together, we're what they need. Together, Thomas repeats, testing the word. Then he leans in and kisses her. Soft and sweet and full of promise. When they finally pull apart, both breathless, Isabella laughs softly. The children are going to be impossible about this. They've been signing about it for days. What have they been saying? Lucas thinks you make moon eyes at me during lessons. Emma has been planning our wedding since week 2. Thomas groans, but he's smiling. They're 8. How do they even know about these things? They're very observant and very hopeful. Isabella's expression grows serious. Thomas, they asked me yesterday if I was going to be their mama. What did you tell them? I told them we'd have to see. That these things take time. She pauses. But I wanted to say yes. I wanted to tell them that I already love them like they're mine. Thomas pulls her close, burying his face in her hair. Marry me. Isabella pulls back, her eyes wide. What? Marry me. Thomas says it again, more firmly this time. I know it's fast. I know people will think we're crazy. But Isabella, I've spent 8 years being half alive. You've given me my children back. You've given me a reason to come home, to learn, to be better. Isabella thinks about her sister Sophia, about all the dreams that died with her. And then she thinks about this new dream, this new family. Yes, she whispers. Yes, I'll marry you. 7 months later, Isabella stands in front of a mirror in a simple white dress. She hardly recognizes the woman staring back at her. The girl who was a struggling waitress feels like a distant memory. This woman, this bride, is someone new. Someone loved. Someone home. You look beautiful, Mama. Emma's small hands move gracefully. The 8-year-old has become remarkably expressive, her confidence growing daily. The most beautiful, Lucas adds, carefully adjusting his little suit jacket. Daddy's going to cry when he sees you. Isabella laughs, signing back. Your daddy doesn't cry. He cried last week when we told him we love him without you translating, Emma points out with 8-year-old logic. It's true. Thomas has come so far in 7 months. He's not perfect yet. His signing sometimes gets tangled when he's excited. But he can have real conversations with his children now. He knows when Lucas is worried about school. He understands when Emma wants to show him her artwork. He can say, I love you and I'm proud of you and tell me about your day without help. The small ceremony is held in the garden of their home. Isabella insisted on keeping it simple, just close friends and family. She walks down a path lined with flowers, her eyes finding Thomas immediately. He stands under an arch covered in white roses, wearing a dark suit. But it's his expression that makes her breath catch. Pure love, pure joy, pure certainty. Emma and Lucas walk ahead of her, carefully carrying small baskets of flower petals, signing to each other excitedly. When they reach Thomas, both children take their positions beside him, their faces glowing with happiness. The ceremony is short. The officiant speaks the traditional words. But halfway through, Thomas does something unexpected. He begins to sign his vows as he speaks them aloud. Isabella, he says, his hands moving with the words. You came into my life like light breaking through darkness. You gave voice to my children when I couldn't. You gave hope to me when I'd stopped believing in it. You taught me that strength isn't about control. It's about connection. I promise to spend every day learning to be the man you deserve, the father our children need, and the partner who stands beside you through everything. By the time he finishes, Isabella is crying. She takes his hands, signing as she speaks her own vows. Thomas, you showed me that family isn't just about blood. It's about showing up, about never giving up, about learning to listen even when it's hard. You gave me back the purpose I lost when I lost my sister. You gave me 2 beautiful children who've taught me what unconditional love really means. I promise to stand beside you, to help you hear the voices that matter most, and to build a life with you that's filled with understanding and love. I now pronounce you husband and wife, the officiant says with a smile. Thomas's kiss is gentle and reverent, full of promises for their future. Behind them, Emma and Lucas cheer, Emma's voice clear and confident, Lucas's hands moving in enthusiastic signs. The reception is small and perfect. Isabella watches Thomas teaching Rosa, the housekeeper, basic sign language, while the children supervise with serious expressions. She sees James, Thomas's head of security, practicing the alphabet with Emma, who corrects his hand positions with patient determination. Happy, Thomas appears beside her, his arms slipping around her waist. Terrifyingly happy, Isabella admits. Is that normal? I think when happiness is this big, it's natural to be a little scared of losing it. He pulls her closer. But we're not going to lose it, Isabella. We're going to protect it with everything we have. Lucas tugs on Thomas's jacket, signing quickly. Daddy, can we tell everyone the surprise now? What surprise? Isabella asks, looking between her new husband and children suspiciously. Thomas kneels down to the children's level. Should we tell Mama? Both children nod enthusiastically. We're going to the beach, Emma signs excitedly. For 2 whole weeks. Just our family. We've been planning it for a month, Lucas adds. We wanted to surprise you. Isabella feels her eyes fill with tears again. You've been planning a family vacation? The children insisted, Thomas says, standing and pulling her close again. They said that every real family needs a vacation together. And we're a real family now. Emma signs matter-of-factly. You're our mama. Daddy can talk to us. And we're all together forever. Forever and always, Lucas adds. Isabella looks around at the small celebration. At the children who've become hers. At the man who taught her to hope again. At the life they've built from broken pieces and brave choices. Forever and always, she signs back, her heart so full it aches. As the sun sets over New York that evening, painting the sky in shades of gold and pink, the Bennett family stands together in their garden. Thomas's construction empire still exists, but it no longer defines him. He's a husband first, a father second, and everything else comes after. The children have taught them all that love isn't about perfection. It's about showing up every day. About learning to listen with your heart, not just your ears. About never giving up on the people who matter most. Isabella's hands gave the children a voice, but their hearts gave her a home. I love our family, Emma signs, her small hands moving with confidence and joy. Me too, Lucas adds. We're perfect together. Thomas looks at his wife, his children, his completed world, and signs the words that have become their family motto. Yes, we're perfect together. And in that moment, standing in their garden with the people they love most, they all believe it. Because sometimes the most beautiful stories begin with the bravest choices. With a waitress who dared to sign to forgotten children. With a father who dared to learn a new language. With a family who dared to love despite the risks. And sometimes, just sometimes, those brave choices lead to happy endings that last forever. The end.